Hello, everyone. I'm Star Hayward, business coach and online entrepreneur. I am here with the amazing Rebekah Goldman. I'm so excited to spotlight her today. She has such an inspiring story of becoming an entrepreneur. And I just know that her sharing her story is going to be really valuable and insightful, and just amazing for all of you ladies here in the group to hear. So I want to welcome Rebekah. She is a leadership and team development coach for women entrepreneurs. And she has just absolutely soared in her industry. And but we're here today to talk about her journey of where she started and how she arrived to where she is now, which is a really, really exciting time in her business. She is quickly becoming a rising star, both locally in her community as well as in the online space. And I just can't wait to dive into this conversation. So welcome, Rebekah.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So, Rebekah, I'd love to start off by asking you to share with our viewers, when was that moment? When did the light bulb go on for you when you knew that not only did you know you wanted to start a business, but that you were actually ready to?
Well, I think it's kind of funny because it's going to be kind of a two-part story. I worked in, the food and beverage industry. I was the executive chef of a multi-million-dollar catering company, and I knew that I had kind of hit a point where I couldn't really go any further in my career at that place. I kind of hit the top. We had well-oiled machines working around us. The business was running smooth. It was profitable. Things were amazing, but I was still hungry. I was hungry for more. And I didn't know what that was. I thought about teaching. I thought about, a lot of other things. But the first thing I did is I put in my notice, which was an 18-month notice. It's very rare for people to put in that kind of notice, but I knew I needed, enough time to train my replacements, but also kind of figure out what my next step was. And at some point along the way, I'll never forget, a friend of mine called me and said, I just wanted to fill you in. I want to let you know that my divorce, or I'm going through a divorce. And I was heartbroken for him because I had watched him work in this industry day and night to be able to provide for his family. And along the way, he forgot to pay attention to his family because he was so caught up in the industry. And I remember coming home that night and telling my husband, Andy, I'm like, we have to do something. I have to do something. This industry, the food and beverage industry, the hospitality industry is ruining people's lives. And I know the solution. I know what it is. We have to do something. And so it was in that moment that I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to start my own business, and I'm going to figure out how to help others in this industry succeed and be able to enjoy their careers, enjoy their life. And that's kind of when it hit for me.
Wow, amazing. So really driven by your passion to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, how did you know what the next best steps to take were? Typically in that moment, there's also like that big question of, okay, what do I do next? Right.
Yeah.
And with that, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of mystery, and there's, you're looking at making a really big transition in your life, from employed to being employed for yourself, and also shifting a really big identity and all of those things that come with it. What would you say were some of the biggest fears that came up for you in that moment?
Well, I think, a lot of people would share the same fears that I had, which started with, will I be good at this? Will people want to hire me? What does it even look like to be able to support people? How do you go about doing that? How do you even start a business? All of the questions, taxes, LLCs, all of these things that you're just like, oh, I've never done this before, right? Everything was new, everything. And the only thing that was familiar was the message that I was going to be sharing. So it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I knew I needed a roadmap. I knew I needed somebody to help guide me. And I just started Googling. I started Googling, coaching, consulting, what does that look like? And I eventually ended up going with like a group coaching program. And that's where I was able to meet you, Star. And I mean, the first thing I had to do was ask for help. You know, I knew I had something to offer, but I had to also have help in getting there, because nobody knows how to start a business if you've never done it before.
Right. So the first thing that you knew you needed was to elicit support
Oh, yes.
and gather the team, right? It takes
Yeah.
a village. It takes a village. So for the audience to understand, Rebecca and I then began working together, and we enrolled her in my business foundations course called Elevate, and then she graduated into my business mastery course called Ascending Heart Business Mastery, where in that program she's again elevated again up leveled her business, and really became the leader for herself, leader for her business, and stepped into a much greater level of visibility. So we worked together for 15 months total. And now, as many of you may have seen here in the group, we have been collaborating on hosting talks in Clubhouse, a new voice app that is creating amazing community worldwide. And Rebecca, you have just stepped onto such an amazing platform of exposure and reach in your business now. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about the journey of going through the foundations course and into the mastery course, and really how did that show up for you in your business and your experience and where you are today?
Well, I think, in the very beginning, first of all, I can't believe that it's been 15 months or that it was 15 months. Um, in the beginning, I mean, especially in Elevate, it really was about kind of laying the foundation of the business, making sure that what I was offering was something that people wanted to pay for, making sure that I was very clear in my message, that I was very good at what I was doing, so that I could show up for clients, and kind of making sure that the circle became whole. And building a really strong foundation. We worked on, how much to charge. What should I charge for my services? How do I need, what kinds of different ways can I show up for my clients? I've done in person just as much as I've done virtual. And I actually enjoy them both a lot. And so there's different programs that I was building, and different price points and different structures. And really, kind of learning how to be confident in knowing that I am a business owner, right? I think that's where I left off at the end of Elevate. And then kind of going into, Ascending Heart. It was interesting because I was at, kind of the high of my business. I just landed a client, made a lot of money with this client, and I was just like, whoo, right? but I was starting to see myself doing things and being invested in a way that wasn't resonating with me anymore. I was offering myself, or I guess I was offering services that I thought people wanted to hear because it made it easier to absorb instead of really staying true to my first message, which was always true success lies in the success of your team. And, through Ascending Heart, I was able to kind of reconnect with that original message and know that message is enough. That people, my people out there are out there and they will hear it and they do need it. And there was a lot of soul searching through Ascending Heart. It was a like this, and not because of you and I, because of life. I mean, I experienced Ascending Heart through the heart of the pandemic, through the election, through all of these things that were happening environmentally around us, and also running a business, reconnecting with myself. And for the first time, I had to look at myself. I was so good at being there for everyone else. I really am. I'm so good at it. It's ridiculous. But I didn't know how to be good to myself. And that's really what I focused on during the, Ascending Heart.
Oh, that is just, it's so beautiful. And it shows, it really shows, because what I observed you on, in addition to all of that, and as a result of doing that work, is you reconnected, right? And then you stepped into um, a deeper, more profound, true love and acceptance for yourself, because that's really what it takes to stand boldly and fiercely in what makes you unique. And and it's um and it takes that confidence
Mhm.
to really have the courage to again stand in that and continue to lead your business in a way that is, it's in alignment, right? It's in alignment with who you really are, and the ultimate vision that you started out with in the first place,
Yeah.
right? It can be so easy to, once you get your business going underneath you and everything's rolling, there's a lot of things that happen over time, right? Like you were
Sure.
talking about. And then there's a lot that opens up. There's more and more opportunities come your way, right? And I know that you were presented with, you have been presented with a few opportunities that, you really had to dig deep to navigate through what were going to be the right opportunities for you, even giving up and passing up on certain things that looked like it could be
Yeah.
a real, like a very prosperous opportunity, but at the end of the day wasn't truly aligned with what you really wanted, what you desired for yourself, having come into this knowing of yourself now.
Mhm.
Isn't that right?
Oh my gosh. There's two big opportunities that came my way, and one of them, well, that I want to talk about anyway. There's tons of other opportunities, but two that came my way. The first one was a client who reached out to me and had a lot of money, and was ready to invest. And you know what? I I know now that I was so intimidated by the amount of money that they had ready to invest that I did not push. I didn't go after it. I was scared,
Mhm.
you know. This is Texas, you know who I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
was scared. Yeah.
We remember Texas.
Yeah. And I know that now. I know that had that conversation happened today, I would be like, "Oh, we got this." Right? And I would have went full swing, but my confidence wasn't there yet. I had another opportunity that came my way where I would have to ignore what I believe so deep in my heart, in my soul, and what I know to be true, tactfully true, like tangibly true, to work. And I was asked to ignore that. And what's ironic is I walked away from it. I put my foot down, even though I know, I know that could have led to a lot of money, essentially, right? It was going to be very prosperous, and it still will be. What's ironic is I walked away, I put my foot down, and I said, absolutely not. I will not go down this path if we're not in agreement with these certain things. I don't care how much you're throwing at me. And what's funny is they called me back a couple days ago and said, you were totally right. You were 100% right, and we need your help. And I went, ha ha.
That is so powerful, Rebekah. And I really hope that the audience, the viewers that are listening to this are really taking this in, because this is how it shows up when you have the courage and the confidence to stay in alignment and within integrity of who you are and what you desire for your business. And one thing that I know and that I teach a lot is that it's just as powerful to be able to say no as it is to say yes, and knowing when you're saying no to the right things and knowing when you're saying yes to the right things, right? It's a part of really both placing boundaries for ourselves in our life, teaching others how we want to be treated, and then also energetically creating as opposed to miscreating in our business. So I just love that. And Rebekah, now where you are standing in your business now, you have so many amazing things going on. You have a podcast, you are an expert contributor to a local organization. You are being sought after by the city of Phoenix to help them repair their restaurant districts. You have so many things going on. Tell us more about all of the juicy, amazing things that you have.
I think it's just, really paying attention and focusing on being ready to accept things that are coming your way, even if they don't look the same on the outside, right? Everything has like a wrapper on the outside. And sometimes, we go after the small present, we go after the big present, we go after the shiny object, we go after this. But really, I've been focusing a lot on allowing things to kind of just organically come my way. The city of Phoenix, that happened out of a conversation that I had 6 months ago with somebody who I just happened to have a really good connection with. Mm-hmm. He reached out to me and said, you have to do this. There's nobody better fit for this job. Please, please, please go after it. Now, with that, it was hard. That was a hard bid to go in on. I mean, it took a lot of work, and it was, again, unfamiliar territory that I had never navigated. But the one thing I did know was that I was going to be able to. I was going to be able to navigate through this new opportunity. I host leadership talks, which are like live podcasts in my private Facebook group, where I have, experts in the industry, all over. I mean, not just the food and beverage industry, all types of industries kind of come in, and we talk about what it means to be a leader. We talk about team development. We talk about balance in our lives. We talk about all of these things that are so important to talk about. And from there, I've gotten to meet, I couldn't even tell you, the most amazing people that are now part of my network. I've been able to help them find work. They've been able to, point me in direction of opportunity as well. We said, I have my podcast, which is just my audio podcast. Oh my gosh, so many things happening. I'm writing blogs for, tons of different, magazines, and, both online and printed, and, I'm doing interviews, and other people are asking me to come on their podcasts, and, they want to feature me. And it's every day there's something new. Every day there's something new that's presenting itself, always. I mean, just this morning in Clubhouse, right? I met somebody totally, random room, right? Had nothing to do with what we were talking about. I think it was like a, spiritual room, like get connected to yourself. And she just happened to mention that she was struggling with, team development. And I was like, hey girl, I got you. Do you know what I mean? It's just, if you ask for it, it's gonna show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're such an amazing example of many, many things. One of which I'll point out in this moment is your courage to be resourceful, right? Like we were talking about in the beginning, what you knew you needed, you opened up to, and you knew that you were going to find a way. You didn't necessarily know that how it was going to work out, right? But you knew that you were totally committed to finding a way. And out of that resourcefulness, you've continued to be resourceful and allow resources. I mean, resources and opportunities and money and clients are just continuing to cycle into your business. And the reason why I say cycle is because I see the abundance as a wheel, right? I mean, why we are in business is so that, yes, we need to pay our bills and we need to make ends meet. And then, we pay it forward. We pay it forward into other parts of our lives that we're passionate about supporting, whether it's, family, charities, investments, so on and so forth. And then also being able to reinvest in our businesses as well.
Mhm.
But one of the things I really want to highlight here too is how much fun are you having running your own business?
Well, here's the thing, right? There were plenty of times during my journey where I questioned, should I just go out and get a job? Should I just go out and get a job? This is, before I started taking on clients, just building out the foundation and in the very, very beginning, should I just go get a job? I'm good at that. I'm good at that. I'm good at that. I'll work my way up. I'll be running the whole thing eventually, in no time. And what's so funny is that I had to kind of step back and go, okay, if I know that I'm going to be running that organization, why why am I thinking about not doing it for myself? Or why am I letting fear come in, or doubt, or scarcity, or whatever the situation is? The one thing I can say about being your own business owner, it's a lot of work.
Hmm.
It's a ton of work. But I know myself. If I know that I always give everything I do my all, always, I always go above and beyond. I'm always so committed to a point where I have to like really work on boundaries, right?
Hmm.
But now I'm doing it for myself. It's all about me and how much how I want to have an impact in the world. I'm not doing that for anybody else anymore. And that was huge for me. That was something I really needed and really had to start focusing on, you know.
Absolutely.
It's scary, it's terrifying, it's all of those things. And it's also so rewarding, especially when you have a client that says, I've never met anybody that can corral a team the way that you do that. I've never met anyone that's a driver in the way that you are. And you just kind of go, okay, this is amazing. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yes, I'm in my purpose lane. Yes, okay, I'm
Mhm.
on the right track. Yeah, absolutely. And when you come to a place of, again, knowing thyself and knowing how to put yourself first as a business owner, the reason why that is so important is so that you can continue to make, again, the right choices in your business so that you can continue to really enjoy running your business, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is work. It is work, but it shouldn't be so hard that you just want to give up, that you are, become miserable doing it. And quite honestly, that can happen. That can be a really scary trap for a lot of entrepreneurs who, put their heart and soul into building their business. And then, when they, if they're not careful, they can become disconnected with what they really wanted in the first place and kind of fall into going after certain business tactics, business strategies, and even taking on clients that they really shouldn't be, that aren't again the best fit and in alignment. So um I think that you're just an amazing example of someone, a woman entrepreneur who has really put in the work, not just the exterior work, the external work, but you have put in the internal work so that you can be standing confidently, and in your sovereignty as a leader in your business, and also in your life, because it spills over into other aspects of your life. So
What's funny is, for me, really, and why I think I did have those, like, I just want to go out and get a job. I'm kind of different where my business was actually easier. I had a lot more downtime. I had time to kind of, you know, meditate if I wanted to meditate. If I wanted to not work that day, I could just not work that day. That didn't feel good to me for a long time. You know what I mean? And you and I really had to work on that. I felt like I could be doing more. Why am I not doing more? And we had to, you really helped me just become like, no, Rebekah, this is how it should be. This is what it feels like to really have freedom and start having the space and the time to be able to heal you, focus on your relationships and your home and the things that you enjoy outside of working.
yeah, absolutely. Well, again, when you are creating through abundance and you're creating through an empowered place in your business, then you don't have to work harder.
Right.
You're working smarter so that you can bring your life into balance. And you've been such an incredible example of that transformation. And as we know, when you are building a business, it's going to push you to grow. And each and every one of us has our different kind of trailing edges. We have our leading edges and we have our trailing edges, and we each have our own kind of trailing edges that are going to maybe go kicking and screaming a little bit more than others. And from what I'm hearing you describe, is that for you it was really always putting everything and everyone always before yourself, and to the point where you were working in a corporate career as an executive chef, working 90 hours a week, most of the time. This is just remarkable, the transformation that you have gone through, and being able to make that transition from corporate and from the lifestyle that you once had and into your own business and living the life that you now have, um, over such a short period of time as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because building a business is the long runway. It doesn't happen overnight. But given that, again, we've worked together for 15 months, and here we are, and the incredible transformation that has occurred before my eyes. And we're really this when we're talking about just over a year, is not a tremendous amount of time. So it's
No,
just remarkable, this accelerated path with the right roadmap that you've been on.
no, I mean, you and I started working together before I left my corporate job.
Mhm.
And, I was in a do not compete situation. So I couldn't even take on other clients if I wanted to. So really it was just about kind of getting really focused on my business, building the website, getting branding ready, pictures, but I couldn't even put it out in the world yet.
Mhm.
And COVID happened, right?
Yep. Mhm.
And I remember messaging you and I was like, I'm free. I didn't want to leave them in a place that was bad, but COVID happened and it forced everybody to just lock down. And I went for it. I was like, I am ready. So, what's really amazing and what I'd like to, just share with everybody who's listening is that within lockdown, like within 1 month of lockdown, I landed my first client and I think we're at, $60,000 so far. And and I'm sharing that information because it is what can happen. Do you know what I mean? It can happen so quickly. You have to be ready and start. I mean, every step of the way, we were always like 3 steps ahead. Like this is going to happen and now you're going to be able to run with it. This is going to happen and now you're going to be able to run for it. We were never scrambling.
Yeah.
you know, because you always had it mapped out. Like, now this is what you should be working on next. This is what you should be working on next. And, I mean, I tell you all the time, I'll continue to say it until, the end of time. Like, you have made obviously the biggest difference in my business, in my life. And I'm definitely, I wouldn't be where I am without you. So now I'm going to get emotional.
Oh, dear, nor would I, because
Yeah.
it's been such an incredible, beautiful, enriching relationship. And that's one of the things that I just love about this work is
Yeah.
developing the heart-centered relationships that come with
Oh,
the heart-centered business owners, right? So it's just
absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, in closing, Rebecca, what advice would you give the audience, if whether they're just starting out to pursue their business vision, or maybe they've been dabbling in it, or they've been working to get it off the ground? What advice do you have for the audience that you would like to part with them?
Well, I focus on leadership and team development. And one of the things that I work on with my clients is how asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is the biggest sign of strength, because we can't do it alone, right? We cannot. It is so important to focus on your team and ask for help. You know, it, the thing is, even with my clients, right? If they knew how to solve all of these problems, they would have solved them already. If you're struggling in your business, you're struggling to get it off the ground, or you want to have more clients or more visibility, or you're not even sure if you're on the right path. Am I good at this? Does it sell? Will people pay for it? The best thing you can do is ask for help. Hire experts who can help walk that walk with you, talk that talk with you, lay out a foundation, because we get tunnel vision, right? We're so in it that we can't see it from above, and that's why you need outside perspective, right? It always works. How often do you walk away from a messy problem, come back an hour later, and you're like, oh, duh, I can see it now. But when you're talking about something so emotional, so for a lot of people, financially, it could put them in a place financially that is terrifying, or they have really kind of, I have to make this work. The best thing you can do in those situations is ask for help. You know, that's my best advice.
It is. It's amazing advice. So, where can people find you?
Well, they can go to my website, takingthewheelconsulting.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I have about 12 followers on TikTok. So don't find me there. And you can find me in Clubhouse too. I'm at Rebekah Goldman. I'd love to see anybody in Clubhouse. Clubhouse is my new favorite. I know you're loving it as well. They can also listen to my podcast, Taking the Wheel. And of course, if anybody's interested in joining my private Facebook group, which is Leadership Revolution, that's a really fun place as well. So,
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has just been so much fun. And I am celebrating you yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and for years to come. It's just been such a joy. And I love the continued journey that we're on together. Rebecca, thank you so much.
thank you. Absolutely.
All right. Well, that wraps up our client spotlight session today. Wishing you all an empowered day, and we'll see you all again very soon here in the group. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.